1917. Mulberry Street, Little Italy, New York. Cigarette smoke weaves through an open window, mixing with the aroma of old tomatoes and wet stone. Steam rises off the pavement after morning rain. From the corner of Mott and Hester, a figure appears. White linen suit, black cane capped in silver, black fedora angled low. Don Fanucci, age 58, strides into the sun, shoes gleaming, every step measured. He commands 6 blocks as his own. For a decade, he collects $2,000 a week, cash from butchers, bakers, tailors, a sum extracted through threats and the whispered reputation of the Black Hand. 52 families pay, 0 resist. Fanucci's presence is a performance. He halts at every stoop, lifts his chin. A boy tries not to meet his gaze. A mother nudges her child inside a doorway. The shopkeepers bow their heads just enough, not out of respect, but fear. He enjoys this, the way his appearance stills the street. Today, his walk ends at Abbandondo's grocery. Inside, the air smells of fruit bruised in crates. The owner, sleeves rolled, watches Fanucci approach and shoos Vito Corleone, 26, Sicilian immigrant, narrow-shouldered, hands stained by olive oil, to the rear counter. Vito arranges bottles in silence, eyes lowered. He hears the cane tap tile, stops moving. Fanucci inspects the produce, then gestures with his cane. There he is. That's the one. A smile, thin and theatrical. You keep letting strangers handle your money, Abbandando. You forget who protects you, ah? The proprietor fumbles a response. Fanucci leans on the counter, voice dropping. My nephew needs a job. Family, paisa. The words are law. The owner glances at Vito, shame burning on his cheeks. Fanucci wants it. What can I do? Vito folds his apron, hands it over without protest. No words, just a nod. Fanucci studies him, laugh rattling in his chest. Ah, the wise one, knows when to keep silent. The laugh cuts through the store, a sound calculated to humiliate. Outside, the white-suited Don relishes the moment. Another immigrant forced to beg, dignity taken with a flick of his cane. Power, pure and simple. To give or to take away a man's place. Vito stands by the rear door, pocketing exactly $6.12, his final pay. He walks into the street, wife and infant son waiting at home, future uncertain. His eyes follow Fanucci's retreat down the block. No words, no outburst, just the silent calculation of a man no longer afraid. Tomorrow, Fanucci will drag his corner boys through the markets again, expecting laughter, tribute, deference. He does not see the risk in what he's done. Not in Vito, not yet. 1918. Mulberry Street, Little Italy. Winter presses cold through cracked windows. Vito Corleone, 26, stands on the sidewalk outside Abbandondo's grocery, fingers numb, pockets empty. The humiliation of Fanucci's insult, losing his job to a nephew nobody respects, sits heavy in his chest, but his eyes remain watchful. In this quarter-moonlit hardship, honest men bend beneath poverty, faces hard as granite in the market daylight, voices soft as cloth at home. 3 weeks after his firing, Vito meets Peter Clemenza in the narrow stairwell of their tenement. Clemenza, burly, generous with jokes, offering a cream-colored rug, no questions asked, smuggled over his shoulder. Salvatore Tessio appears days later, thin, sharp-eyed, quick with numbers and nerves. They share hunger, shame, and ambition. In Vito, they find steadiness. Together, they begin with risk. One carpet, then a stolen crate of dresses from the docks. In 1919, their small circle grows efficient. They move through fogged mornings and gas-lit nights. Clemenza cases a hardware store near Broome Street. Tessio knows which delivery wagons will be left unguarded. Vito draws up lists, plans routes, gauges the worth of each mark down to the dollar. He insists, no violence, no noise, never attract attention. In 2 months, they earn 160, enough to keep families warm. By autumn, their boldest operation, 3 rooms of black market appliances, quick sold door to door, nets $600. For men scraping by on 50 cents an hour, this is power. Technical detail: $600 feeds 4 families for a year, covers rent on 2 cold water flats, buys silence from hungry neighbors. Laundry lines stretch from 3rd-story windows. In crowded kitchens, mothers slice bread with borrowed knives, grateful for a cheap stove acquired from the grocery boys. The neighborhood whispers, and soon, Clemenza and Tessio are known, not as thieves, but as Robin Hood figures supplying where the world fails. Vito, always quietest, listens at stoop corners. His decisions are final. His presence both calming and commanding. Children chase after the men, giggling, never quite understanding. But the fathers and shopkeepers watch, some with thanks, others with prayerful fear. Every few weeks, another shop loses inventory. Sometimes Fanucci's shadow stretches across the block. It's said no one can act without his blessing. For now, he ignores small crimes. But tension grows like a storm cloud. On a Thursday in late June, Fanucci appears at the end of Mott Street, white suit glinting, black mustache catching oil lamp light. For weeks he has watched, counting their packages, calculating. In 24 months, one pattern becomes clear. Every success draws more eyes. Tessio's voice shakes when word gets around. Fanucci knows everything. Clemenza wonders aloud, how much will he want? Vito studies his friends, then the street, gaze steady as granite. Fanucci always comes for his piece, Vito says. That night, Clemenza and Tessio cannot sleep. The air feels tight, the future uncertain. Somewhere above the street, Fanucci plans his extortion. Below, Vito watches, never blinking. The shadows cast by street lamps promise the next confrontation is only days away. 1920. Little Italy, New York. Smoke drifts over Mulberry Street. Summer heat slicks the cobblestones. A Ford Model T idles, 3 men tense inside, Clemenza at the wheel, Tessio beside him, Vito silent in the back with a crate of stolen linens. Suddenly, a tap on the truck's tailgate. Don Fanucci swings aboard, white suit immaculate, cane gleaming gold. You boys think you work for yourselves, Fanucci's voice soft as velvet but sharp. I know every shop you robbed, 6 sacks of flour, bolts of silk, 2 crates of tools. That brings in $600. The cane tip rattles on the floorboard. So you pay me $200 each, or I speak to the police. Clemenza's mouth trembles. See, Don Fanucci, right away. Tessio shifts, hands knotted. Fear stinks in the cabin. Fanucci studies Vito. You boy, clerked a thief overnight. He smiles, wolfish. I don't want trouble. I want respect, but I can be reasonable. Maybe my figures are wrong. He shrugs. I'm willing to take less, but you must show honor. From the front, Clemenza's voice cracks. We'll get the money. Vito raises one hand. Don Fanucci, I can only afford $100, he says, voice smooth. He fixes Fanucci with unflinching eyes. Silence presses in. The ticking Ford engine, crowds in the street, a church bell at 6 p.m. Internally, Vito measures. Fanucci lists goods, threatens police, then negotiates like a merchant haggling in Palermo. A real boss simply takes, no debate. So, does Fanucci only have rumors behind him? Vito watches the man's pupils flicker, wrist tense beneath the linen cuff. Fanucci laughs, forced. You have fire in you, eh? He snatches the bills from Vito. Fine, $100 is fine. I see you are smart. Maybe you work for me next time. See? He slaps Vito's cheek, almost friendly. Your friends can go. Clemenza blinks in disbelief. Tessio stares at Vito with new fear. Truck doors slam. Engine coughs to life. They pull away. The day stays heavy, but inside Vito's mind, the air is clear. That night, in a cramped kitchen, Clemenza whispers, Maranzala. He's Fanucci's boss, they say. Untouchable. Tessio lights a cigarette with shaking hands. Vito listens, then speaks. If Fanucci had real power, he wouldn't argue for $100 with 3 street thieves. Clemenza glances at the battered envelope on the table. What will you do? Vito answers quietly, calculation cold in his tone. I'll handle Fanucci. Outside, fireworks begin for the Festa di Santa Rosalia, distant thunder waiting. Vito watches the sparks drift into darkness, already studying Fanucci's next move, already planning the end. 1920. Little Italy, New York, late June. The smell of bread and sewage hangs low on Mott Street. Vito Corleone sits at a bare table with Clemenza and Tessio. He finally speaks. Pay nothing. I'll handle Fanucci. Shock freezes his partners. Clemenza spits it back. He'll kill us. He has connections with the police. Vito's eyes stay steady. If he had real connections, he wouldn't jump on our truck himself. Fanucci's power is reputation. A man with real power doesn't negotiate. The room stays silent. The line is drawn. Preparation begins. Vito starts with surveillance, military in its precision. He walks, invisible in the crowd, following Fanucci. Tuesday evening, 9:12 p.m. Friday, 9:12 p.m. For 5 weeks, Vito shadows him. His notepad fills. Same eastern route each time. Through Grand, Mulberry, Hester, back along Elizabeth. Fanucci never varies. Perhaps he never thinks he should. No bodyguards. White suit, black shoes, 3 gold rings. Left hand carries the cane. Right tucked in his jacket, touching the pistol. No bags, no friends. Alone. Technical data emerges. Fanucci enters 17 Stanton Street at 10:47 p.m. without fail, climbing staircase to 3rd floor, apartment 3C. Each time, his key jams at first turn. Each time, he curses quietly in dialect. Every hall light flickers near his door. Vito notes the weak bulb, easily removed, wipes the sweat from his hands, sketches the layout on brown paper. The landing echoes footsteps. On the wall, a faded crucifix, 1 nail missing. It will be darker here tomorrow, Vito thinks. Internal monologue, cold and unhurried. Strength is never loud. Power is never explained. In war, the enemy who shouts commands is already afraid. Fanucci is noise and shadow. Vito is calculation, silence, patience. He lists risks. Police on the corner. Changed shifts at 11:00 p.m. Doors left unlocked. 3rd floor neighbors away all July. Distance from roof to next building. 4 steps. A leap. 3 chimneys to scatter parts. Fireworks during Festa sarà rumore perfetto. The sound will hide the shots. He plans the weapon. A revolver, wrapped tightly in towel, muzzle pressed to Fanucci's chest for silence. He tests the towel. 3 layers muffle the dry click in his kitchen drawer. No echo. He chooses the towel his wife uses for their son. A small, necessary irony. 2 extra bullets, insurance. On July 15th, under the Festa's first penance, Vito meets Fanucci to hand over the $100. He fixes his face into respectful humility. He observes every twitch, every flicker of suspicion. Nothing. Fanucci boasts, pats Vito's cheek, takes the cash. Next time I offer you work, you say yes, Fanucci declares. Vito smiles. He knows there will be no next time. Final review. Tuesday. Friday. 10:47 p.m. Apartment 3C. No witnesses. Hallway bulb unscrewed. Festa's fireworks a rising wave. Escape route mapped. Up to the tenement roof. across tiles still warm from the day's heat, through 3 chimneys, barrel, cylinder, towel shredded and scattered. Every variable coldly considered, every risk allowed for. The last hour dawns. Vito feels only calm, controlled breathing, no anger. He is not like Fanucci. The respect he will build comes from this discipline, from seeing, not guessing. Across Mott Street, Fanucci strides, unaware, his white suit a beacon. Vito slips into the darkened stairwell, 1 step ahead, the hallway perfectly blind. 30 seconds until 10:47. He waits, and the year of terror ticks toward its end. 1920. Little Italy, New York, July 16th. Festa di Santa Rosalia pulses through narrow streets, crowds singing, laughter echoing, children weaving with sparklers in hand. Italian sausage and sweet pastries scent the night air. Fireworks crackle above Mulberry Street, bright blooms painting the darkness, masking other sounds beneath their thunder. Inside, Don Fanucci begins his slow walk home. White linen suit pressed and pristine, cane tapping against cobbles. He tips his hat, collects cash from 3 trembling shopkeepers, pockets swollen with tribute. He moves with confidence born of a decade's impunity. Reputation makes him untouchable. 52 families pay Fanucci every week. His take tonight is $640. The festa outside is joy, but he is business. He glances at his gold pocket watch, 10:43 p.m., 4 minutes until home. Vito Corleone waits. 3rd floor, hallway of Fanucci's tenement on Prince Street, apartment 3C. Light bulb unscrewed 2 turns, shadows pooling, perfect concealment. He breathes steady. In one hand, revolver wrapped in towel against the noise. In the other, $100 for Fanucci, a token, soon to be retrieved. Beneath the smoke of the celebration, gunpowder's acrid tang rises from the cloth. Vito's heart rate, slow, deliberate. For 58 days he studied this walk, this hour, this man's routine. Not power, just ritual. Downstairs, Fanucci stops to flirt with a neighbor's wife. Performance, thick cologne mingling with burnt sugar. He climbs the worn stairs, every step creaking beneath his weight. Slight wheeze. He's grown soft on extortion. Keys jingle. He fumbles, curses, unlocks his door, notices the darkness above. It irritates him, a break in his perfection. Carelessness, he mutters in dialect, reaching up to fix the bulb. Vito moves from shadow, measured, silent, eyes cold. Fanucci registers him, forced smile stretching across lips now uncertain. Ah, young Vito, you have my money. Fanucci's voice attempts to patronize, but catches on fear. Vito's words are calm, measured. Yes, Don Fanucci. All of it. Explosion of light from the bulb, then 3 explosions more, perfectly synchronized with the crescendo outside. First shot, chest. Fanucci grasps at his lapels, confusion blooming. Second, throat, blood jets, voice extinguished. Third, face. White hat flies free, suit splashed red, theater stripped from tyrant. 12 seconds from first muzzle flash to last heartbeat. Fireworks reach their wildest shimmer. Outside, no one hears. Fanucci gasps, collapses against peeling plaster. In those final moments, understanding floods his gaze. The boy he mocked is now death's hand. All his reputation, all his noise, undone by quiet calculation. Vito waits, counts 3 breaths, steps calmly to the body. Retrieves his $100 from ruined fingers, wipes the gun, dismantles it with sure motions, barrel, cylinder, grips, each wrapped separate, moves to the roof, drops fragments down 4 different chimneys, untraceable, unrecoverable. Below, police whistle 2 blocks away, of no concern. Vito descends fire, escape into the heart of the celebration. 50 seconds have passed since Fanucci opened his door. On Mulberry, Families dance, fireworks bursting above. Vito straightens his collar, finds his wife at a vendor's stall, accepts a cannoli, kisses his infant son's head. His face is unreadable, just another man enjoying the feast. Inside the hallway, blood pools across mahogany tile, red on white, silence after violence. 10 years of terror erased in 12 seconds. The first night of a new order. Vito Corleone, once the quiet clerk, walks among his neighbors as the festival lights burn on. The future began tonight, and no one outside those walls suspects it. 1920. Little Italy, New York. Dawn. The neighborhood stirs to an unfamiliar quiet. On the third floor of a walk-up along Mott Street, the building superintendent discovers it first. A heavy silence broken only by the distant clatter of horse hooves on cobblestones. Blood, bright and fresh, stains the hallway and seeps under the door of apartment 3C. Police arrive at 8:14 a.m. Two detectives, tired, disinterested, question neighbors in the stairwell. Nobody saw nothing. No visitors, just fireworks. A dozen witnesses, unified in silence. Detective Salvatore Lamonaco shakes his head. Black hand business, probably some rival gang. Nobody will talk. No evidence, no weapon, no witnesses. Officially, the case is filed unsolved. Fanucci's name, once spoken with fear, now whispered as a warning from a dead era. The officers don't linger. There is no pressure, no powerful friend calling for justice. 3 days later. Funeral home on Broome Street. Only Fanucci's nephew attends, face hollow and drained. Beside him stand two distant relatives, silent in black coats. No flowers from Palermo, no visits from Tattaglia or Maranzala. Not a single known black hand leader appears. Fanucci's white suit, so pristine in life, now shrouded beneath thin muslin. His coffin closes without a prayer offered by friends. The illusion of power dies with him. Rumors swirl in the street. Fanucci had no one, only his shadow. Day 4. The first man knocks on Vito's door. Genco Abandando, the grocer who once fired him. He stands in the kitchen, hat in hand, voice trembling. We need someone, not a boss, a protector, someone with fairness. That morning, the baker follows. Then, the butcher. 5 shopkeepers in 2 days, each asking the same. Will you help us? Not out of fear, but trust. They bring coffee cakes, cigars, children who wait shyly in the hall. Vito listens. He sets his terms, 2% of profits. In return, you have peace. If anyone troubles you, you come to me. Gone are the white suits, gone the cane, gone the raised voices. Instead, Vito visits each store, asks about business, shakes hands, remembers a sick mother's name, helps arrange a cousin's passage from Sicily, settles an old market feud with reason before anger. Clemenza and Tessio stand behind him now. No threats. Collections are quiet, honest. We ask once, politely, Clemenza says. Enforcement is not a club, but a conversation on a back step. Disputes are resolved by words first, violence reserved as a last resort. Within a week, robberies stop, store windows are safe, and children play in alleys without glancing over their shoulders. Word travels up and down Mulberry Street. Fanucci is gone. The quiet Sicilian, Vito, now looks after us. Old men whisper in dialect, he's not like the Black Hand. He's a man of honor. In barbershops, in bakeries, in crowded kitchens thick with tomato steam, the community exhales. Threat turns to relief. Respect fills the vacuum where fear once ruled. In 7 days, the era of the extortionist ends. A new order quietly roots itself, built on gratitude, not trembling. Even those who once doubted bring gifts, eager to join rather than oppose. By Sunday, July 25th, 1920, Little Italy belongs to Vito Corleone. No violence, no police, only the silent transfer of trust and the beginning of a legend. 1922. Little Italy, New York. 2 years after Don Fanucci bleeds out in his own doorway, the streets remember only the lingering scent of gunpowder and Festa fireworks. His legend, once built on white suits and cane-tapping threats, has evaporated. No one tells his story, except as a warning. Now these same 6 city blocks answer to a different rhythm. Vito Corleone sits behind a polished desk inside Genco Pura Olive Oil Company, the office thick with the aroma of Sicilian oil and steam from stovetop coffee. Genco Abbandando, his childhood friend, manages the books. Envelopes, collection from 64 businesses, rest neatly atop the ledger, a calculated 2% tribute, not Fanucci's crippling 20%. No gunmen patrol the street. Clemenza and Tessio enforce quietly. Their job is prevention, not punishment. Tessio manages emerging markets over in Brooklyn. Clemenza collects debts and handles negotiation with his usual implacable calm. Downstairs, 3 men wait for a word with the Don. A grocer whose brother faces an unfair landlord. A baker whose daughter is harassed by local boys. They come for protection, but not just from violence. They seek dignity. Within 18 months, Vito's influence extends from Fanucci's original 6 city blocks to 10. Requests arrive from Mulberry, Orchard, Hester Street. Judges and police captains tip their hats in the morning. Politicians linger for his subtle endorsement. Local ward bosses, once dismissive of a grocery clerk, now relay ballots through his approval. Nobody risks betrayal. Vito's reputation is his shield. A man of honor, fair but firm. He listens, offers solutions, expects loyalty, never obsequious fear. Shopkeepers nod as he passes. Families bring him children to bless before Sunday Mass. Across the city, Sicilian import contracts multiply. 3,000 barrels of olive oil marked Genco Pura, delivered in 1922 alone. The paperwork is perfect. No one asks questions about a vanished extortionist. No one dares question Vito's fairness. There are no turf wars, no retaliation, no police reports, 0 arrests. Even city inspectors accept espresso before quietly leaving. Vito's word settles disputes faster than any courtroom. His authority is soft-spoken, absolute. In 2 years, he transforms shame into sovereignty. The once mocked grocery clerk now commands deference from judges, politicians, and thieves. Where Fanucci built his power on fear, Vito builds legacy, honor, respect, family, and memory. In the end, those who underestimated him are gone or forgotten. The new Godfather, once just the silent man stacking produce, now presides from his desk as families line up for a hearing. This is the reversal no one expected. This is the birth of the Corleone Empire,